For number 13, we're going to go over some basic rules of transversals before we jump into it. And I've drawn a transversal in red on the screen. And all a transversal is a line that crosses two parallel lines, but they have some basic logic that they follow when you're dealing with them. So angles that are opposite each other are going to be identical. And then the angles in the same spot on the other parallel line are also going to be identical to those angles. So all four of the circled angles here are the same degree. And going the opposite way, G and F are opposite each other and they are identical. And they are also identical to C and B. So C, B, G, and F are all exactly the same degree. A, D, E, and H are all exactly the same degree. So we're going to use that logic to solve our problem here. And the first thing that we're going to do is just look using that logic to figure out which angles are going to be the same. So 8 and 10 are identical, and those are identical to 2 and 5. And we know that because the P angle isn't impacting either of any of these angles. So all four, 2, 5, 8, 10, those are all the exact same angle. And on the same note, 11 and 13 are identical to 1 and 4 because 1 and 4 are not impacted in any way by Q. So all four of those angles are identical. Obviously, the angles that are opposite each other are going to be identical as well, as long as they are not impacted in some way by the other transversal. But we'll get into those details if we need to. Let's see if we can answer it just from this. So first, we are told that for A, it's saying that 1 is congruent to 5. So 1 and 5 do not necessitate them being the same. There's no rules to show the same. And we could actually move Q around. We can't move L and M because those have to be parallel to each other. But we could essentially move Q around because there's no relationship with P there. We can move Q around to make 5 bigger or smaller. And it is not going to impact 1. So we can eliminate A because those do not necessarily have to be the same. For B, it's saying angles 2 and 1, and 2 and 1 do not need to be the same. And we could move Q and it would not impact 1, but it would impact the size of 2. So those don't must be the same. For C, it's saying 3 and 10. And 3 and 10 obviously aren't in our circled ones, but we could move line P to make 3 bigger or smaller without impacting 10, so it doesn't must be the same. For angle D, saying 4 and 2 are the same, and we can see on our logic here that they don't have to, and we can just know, if we want to think about it, that we could move line P to make 4 bigger or smaller, and it is not going to impact 2. So that one is gone. And we're only left with E, so we know that it is almost certainly the right answer unless we've made an error. Saying 5 and 8 are the same, and they are in our circles. These are alternate interior angles. So all of those, 2, 5, 8, and 10, they are all going to be identical angles. And so that is going to be true, answer E.